right, welcome to the Sometimes We podcast, a podcast by the Sometimes Island, where sometimes we do stuff. It's Super Bowl week.
It is Super Bowl week. There's a 1 week gap between what we call Championship Sunday and the Super Bowl. So we thought that, I don't know if we'll be releasing this on that kind of
Today will be Wednesday. The Super Bowl is in 4 days.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
But that gives us plenty of time to talk about some cool, fun Super Bowl football related things, right?
Yeah. Is it still a thing that you can't say Super Bowl? Do we have to say the big game?
Whoa.
Is that like a radio thing? Is it like a YouTube thing?
Is there some sort of, because it's like offensive or something? Or is it like a trademark thing?
Yeah, it was like some sort of trademark thing where growing up, like you would hear ads and be like, oh, like come by and like pick up your beers or whatever for the big game.
Oh,
because like only NFL is allowed to say Super Bowl. That might not be a thing anymore, but
whatever. Fuck
I really don't care. If this episode becomes unavailable, that's probably why.
We'll probably cut this with like that disclaimer the NFL gives is like, this broadcast is exclusively the NFL rights.
We'll just like hire somebody to go in and bleep out every single time we say Super Bowl. Probably take like a week and a half.
We will. Kind of like South Park will just be bleeped out.
Well, anyway, we're talking about the Super Bowl because it's not like, this isn't a football or sports podcast, but it is like a great American, it's like an American holiday. It's something that we all do over here. And I think like even across the pond, they watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Do they watch the Super Bowl?
They do watch the Super Bowl. In fact, I actually saw a really interesting video. There's this random pub about 2 hours north of London that is a Cleveland Browns bar.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so two Brits made the journey up there, and it's just like full on, there's transplant cities all across America. LA would be one of them. Not a lot of people are actually from LA.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like, there's got to be a Dallas Cowboys bar or a Baltimore Ravens bar.
For sure.
There's an Eagles bar in Santa Monica. So I'm sure that there's a lot of that going on in the UK as well.
Yeah, there's probably like an Eagles the band bar in the UK too. There's a lot of people.
Yeah. But, despite what anybody's opinion on it is,
I'll take it easy.
That's right. But yeah, despite what people's opinions are on Taylor Swift being immersed in the NFL, it has brought in a lot of people that traditionally wouldn't watch NFL or football in general to it. So
for anybody listening back, or like if this comes out, because we said this on an earlier episode where we're like, oh no, we're dating this podcast by saying Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce romance. Like that's still going. This was the year that happened. Yeah. And we're here now. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of new people who like watch the Kansas City Chiefs now.
Right. Yeah. And I think that it's, again, there's like obviously a larger female population that's invested in it because of Taylor Swift. And again, I think that there's two schools of thought on it. You could be kind of the traditional, like, oh, that's kind of annoying. Like it keep certain people out of like watching our sport or whatever. But I think there's also the school of thought too.
There's grouchy old men everywhere you look.
Right. Yeah. But then there's also that school of thought, which is like, hey, hopefully if, for whatever reason, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce break up, we still get some people that still want to watch the sport.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure the NFL fucking loves it. They're like, oh, cool. We can bring back all that like pink merch we didn't sell from our big breast cancer awareness month push. That was really just a merch selling scheme in disguise. We don't give a shit about women. We're the NFL.
Right.
I'm quoting.
And I think it's actually an interesting point to bring up for those that are relatively new to watching the NFL. There is this idea that certain calls will be made by the refs to make sure a team will advance to the next round or win for either ratings or actually solely for ratings. So I say all that to say that at this point, who's gotten to the Super Bowl, or at least one of the teams. And there's this whole notion that...
Well, they know all the
that's
teams.
True. We do know. So, okay.
We're here now. A little peek behind the curtain. We're watching the Detroit Lions and the Niners right now. It's like end of the third quarter. It's actually a pretty good game.
It is.
But you know what? There's no metal drummer practicing blast rolls next door.
Right. Yeah.
Like literally like... 3 feet away from us, because these walls are probably like as thin as like fucking 2 sheets of paper rubbed together.
There's not a whole lot of soundproofing, but anyway, so there's this whole idea that the NFL will want certain teams to advance into the playoffs, for example, mainly being Kansas City getting the Super Bowl because of Taylor Swift. And
did you think that they like kind of, because we're getting into conspiracy theory territory of,
but fuck it, let's put on the tinfoil hats, honestly.
Right.
I think because there's two sides of the argument for it, right?
Yeah.
But I like to think I'm a kind of a happy balance. The Ravens did a lot of things that shot themselves in the foot. Yeah. Especially with like that taunting call or whatever. Like, dude, don't be an idiot. Like, yeah. But there were a few sketchy calls or non-calls that I think the Ravens...
That pass interference thing?
That pass interference, man, he was sexually abused in the end zone. Like, I was shocked that wasn't called. But there are a lot of people think that was intentionally not called because it only helped Kansas City.
It's possible. I don't think it's possible for the NFL to plan like... I forget who on the Ravens getting the ball punched out of his arms right before, like as he's like launching towards the end zone. Right. So there was some luck involved too. But without getting too much into like the actual mechanics of the sport and football itself, let's talk about this concept that you brought up right before we started recording, Super Bowl Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I saw a comedian online that said that we actually, it was the pastor at my church this morning, that we only celebrate like American history holidays. There aren't really any sort of like religious or like there's no non-religious or non-American history holidays. It's all involved around like we're not celebrating some French dude and having a 3-day weekend because of it.
Did a French dude create a 3-day weekend?
No, that was just the example he gave. He's like, there wasn't some sort of like a French guy that liberated tyranny and we're celebrating it over here in America.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. I think that the one non-religious or non-American important person thing that we should celebrate is getting a national holiday the day after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees with it. This needs to be changed. I think we need to have that day off. It's like a day off wasteland. Like you have this long Christmas kind of thing, but then you get really beat down really fast through all of January. We just came out with a burnout episode.
We did.
And then February, you got nothing. You got Valentine's Day, which isn't like a day off or anything. And then March, there's like nothing. There's spring break if you're in school. Mm-hmm. And then April, there's like nothing. And then May, and then the summer, you get a bunch of holidays. But you have that dead time.
I think that I saw that we are looking to have just arbitrary holidays, at least one 3-day weekend per month in the holiday. In the UK, they don't even have reasons for a 3-day weekend. They're just like, it's a bank holiday.
Yeah.
So it's just like, this is a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, you get more done if you take enough time off. Like a wise person once told me to, like, when you're planning your year, schedule your time off first. It's the first thing you do. Be like, I am not doing anything productive on these times or whatever.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, but I definitely think that regardless of whether you were watching the Super Bowl, and there's a lot of really great topics that we have surrounding what I'm about to say, whether you're there to watch the Super Bowl game itself or the halftime show, you're more than likely involved in what's happening that day.
Yeah.
And drinking adult beverages if you do drink, right? So like just having to go to work, let alone be efficient at it that next day, is just kind of a waste. You're wasting everybody's time. Yeah. Because especially if you're in a role where like you are a direct customer facing person and you have to talk to clients on the phone. They were doing Super Bowl stuff the day before.
Nobody wants to work. It's like those the companies that like try to make people come back and work on like Black Friday or something. Like,
right.
We got one extra day and then we're going to, nothing's going to happen.
Right. So yeah, I mean, not too much beyond that subject. I definitely think that there should be a national holiday after the Super Bowl. And again, to your point, there's not anything that goes on in February, so you might as well just slap it in there.
It's the most depressing time of the year. Thank God it's the shortest month.
Yeah. And there's also, I think the shortest day of the year is in February, right? In terms of like light in the day.
No, that would be the winter solstice on December 21st.
Okay.
My grandma's
It's called like Blue
birthday.
Monday or something, or Blue Tuesday.
Isn't that Blue Monday? When a mind to disagree. No, Blue Monday is like it. Yeah. I think that song's called Blue Monday. Anyway, I'm sure everyone cares. I forgot what we were talking about.
Well, there's a lot of really interesting topics that come out of you being in that environment of watching the Super Bowl.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But
I mean, it's for like the Super Bowl is just a holiday. Like the fact that it's centered around like a football game is almost like a side thing to it. Like I think if you were trying to watch that game as a serious football fan and like know what's going on at all times, that is probably the hardest game of the year to do that, because there's a whole bunch of people who don't give a shit who are coming over to watch. It's like the World Cup, you know, everybody watches the World Cup and most people don't watch soccer/football year round.
right.
You know?
They don't.
So yeah, I think one of the things that people are like, oh, I like the ads, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and Super Bowl, what do you think of Super Bowl ads lately? We should probably like touch on them on next week's episode, because the Super Bowl will have just happened and we can bring them up. But I know that they start releasing some early so you can watch them. I don't know how I feel about that, because I think you have like a very like willing audience with the Super Bowl ads. People who are like these are funny. We're all gonna laugh, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Here's the thing. I can't really. There aren't a lot of ads that have been memorable.
No, I feel like they've been leaning into like this like heartstrings thing. Have you noticed like a lot more of the Super Bowl ads are like have this like emotional slow piano music, or about like, you know, lost puppies or diseases or whatever?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite heartstring Super Bowl commercials was a Google Chrome was just really starting to pop off. This was like when I was in college.
Okay.
And basically it was a very simple concept. This guy was just Googling certain things, but basically what he was doing was he was just Googling certain like important life events. So like he'd be like searching like how to get into college was one thing. I
remember this.
And then he was searching like, you know, how to buy a wedding ring.
Yeah.
And then what are baby clothes sizing metrics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was very heartfelt.
Yeah.
You know?
I just like miss me with those. I think that the Super Bowl is a time that we should all be like laughing at him. I don't, you know, yes. Are soldiers coming home and embracing their families like a beautiful? Yeah. Do I want to see that during the Super Bowl? Not really. What if somebody was like, this year's halftime show is going to be like a tribute to important people who are no longer with us? It's like, that's the vibe that those ads give me. I'm just like, oh, not right now.
Yeah. I would say that we're probably like sounding like grumpy old men, or at least I am. But I like to think that what made Super Bowl ads really important back in the day is that they weren't really trying to maybe be not controversial is not the right word, but like, yeah, maybe controversial, but like they were creating seismic cultural things that people would take into their normal day life. So like the what's up?
That's immediately where my mind went to when you said that.
So, you know, it's like, hey, let's do something where people will like use that. Like, what is something middle schoolers will say for the next 3 months?
Yeah.
You know, to each other, like, what's up? You know?
Yeah. I think that time frame has like condensed. Like, I think that like, you know, cultural relevance is like getting smaller and smaller. So maybe that's why they're doing the heartstrings thing, because they're like, nobody's going to remember this anyway.
Or they're like, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Like people would say that, you know?
Was that a Super Bowl ad? That was the original, the origin of that?
I think so.
Verizon guy?
Yeah. Well, they brought it full circle. So he left Verizon, the can you hear me now guy. Now he's with Sprint, which is interesting.
That is funny. I can tell there's like some Geico commercials that are coming on now where they're like referencing the Geico caveman and bringing him back. I feel like they're setting up for like a Super Bowl thing of where like, you know, the lizard or the caveman or something is happening. with that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the initial Geico caveman commercial was incredible because it just took people so off guard where they're like, so easy a caveman can do it. And it was a caveman offset with a boom mic, and he dropped it and he's like, yo, not cool, bro. And he just like stormed off the set. And then it kind of got to, they almost just like killed the joke. They made a TV show out of it, or they tried to.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah, they tried to do kind of like a day in the life of a caveman, but that initial one was just so funny because it was like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
That might have been the start of like being hyper aware or woke, if you will. Just not offending a caveman. That might have been it.
The Geico caveman invented wokeness.
Yeah.
Let's so while we're here, we're talking about ads. I have all this scribbled down on the back of like a airplane receipt. Halftime show. I don't even know who's playing the halftime show for this Super Bowl. Do you?
Usher.
All right. Cool.
The last year was kind of just like it was like a medley of 90s R&B hip hop people.
It was?
Yeah, it was like 50 Cent, Eminem, Snoop Dogg.
I think it wasn't that technically Dr. Dre's, and then or wasn't Rihanna last year? Man, I don't remember.
Yeah,
but I know what you're talking about. And I think that he just like brought on a bunch of people because Dr. Dre's a producer. So maybe I don't know how they build it, but like that was how I took that one. It was good.
I was never really like a big rap or hip hop person. I think that I kind of stopped after like Eminem. That was kind of like where my hip hop interest ended. So when they have like those kind of artists or whatever, like I'll watch them because it's an event. I'm kind of the reverse of some people that don't want to watch the game, that are only sticking it out to watch the halftime show.
Yeah.
I usually am just like, okay, this is my time to just like not watch the TV.
Yeah. Usher, you just better bring the heat on like a actual like production, you know, like just some cool set or like something interesting going on. Cause I think he's a really good performer. I'm not like a Usher fan, but I have high hopes. I think he can do well.
I think so too. I guess I get a little snobby when I watch it. Because usually, even if it's like a pop star, they usually bring their backing band, and you can tell that like none of the like the drum kit, for example, is not mic'd up.
Yeah.
So he's like not really playing. So there's my knee jerk visceral reaction is just like, well, this isn't real. But I'm like, there are so many things audio wise that could go wrong as a backing band that it's just like, let's just err on the side of being conservative and just not mic anything up, you know?
Yeah. I think they have like every time you hear like a singer, you're going to have like the backing tracks are like way louder. They'll have the singer's like voice in the mix, but like, you know, about like 20-80 ratio.
From, so we play in a band and we know.
We do?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. It's a little plug here. We play in a band.
What's it called?
The Sometimes Island. We'll put some sort of little graphic there. But being in a band, you at least me personally, I don't get really nervous for shows in terms of performance related things because if you're prepared for the show or you're not. Where I do get nervous is like if something audio can go wrong. So for anybody that is like annoyed that somebody is lip syncing, like shut the fuck up, because they're performing in front of billions of people. And if something goes wrong audio wise, like it ruins their performance. So yeah, they probably are lip syncing, or at the very least, they're like pumping some backtracks where the singer's singing over top of it as kind of like
that is 100% what they're doing every time.
Yeah.
Forever.
So it's just like, would you rather them really sing and then something go wrong and then the whole show is fucked, or just like, hey, let's just, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
I just wish people would just maybe come outright and say like, hey, that's what's going on. And get ahead of it
rather than do like a Milli Vanilli thing or Ashley Simpson thing. I actually saw Ashley Simpson. I was at the national championship, USC versus Oklahoma,
where she got booed,
and it was right after this SNL thing of where like they played the wrong backing track, and so she just kind of like did a hoedown, or she said something dumb like that, and then like
she did the
walked off stage.
She did the hoedown, and then they came back from the commercial break after that awkward.
Pretty sure that's not even the right use of that word, but yeah.
No, it is. Yeah, she was doing kind of like a hoedown, like
she did like a nervous, stupid dance, and then like ran away.
Yeah, it was just like this Gangnam Style kind of rodeo thing.
Oh my God.
And then it cut out, and then they came back. And she blamed her band for playing the wrong song.
Yeah. So this was like right after that had happened, and she was doing the actual singing, and it sounded very bad. It was like deafeningly booed afterwards. It's still to this day like the loudest boos I've ever heard in my life. Also, probably not her target audience, Ashley Simpson, like the national college football fans, but you know.
But that was kind of in the day and age where musicians, actors, definitely athletes. There was the whole kind of Deion Sanders flashy, like really abrasive, big personalities where they were just like unapologetic about everything. I would say that like in today's world, if you had that Ashley Simpson type situation, it's very more common for people to be humble these days. So I think that she probably would have been like, I'm so sorry. I wasn't ready for that song. I thought it was going to be a different one, and I should have probably known that or adjusted on the fly.
Yeah.
That probably would have happened these days. But again, she had the machine behind her, so she's like, well, I'm not going to blame myself, blame my band. And I think that's why she got the reception when she performed at that halftime show later.
Yeah, there's so many better ways to handle that. But, you know, she probably, you know, just with her sister already super famous, seems like very like nepotistic anyway, that she would be like, oh, now she's going to be famous. It's like, okay, like we're being force fed something.
Right. Exactly. That's so funny. I didn't know that you were at that game.
Yeah. It was like the loudest booing I've ever heard. It was crazy, man.
Yeah. I almost wonder if it was like a domino effect where people were like, boo, boo. Yeah, boo, boo.
It was like, boo. Then you hear this one guy like louder than the rest, like, you suck.
That's
you can hear it on the broadcast feed.
Oh man.
Let's how are we doing on time over here? It's looking great. I forgot when we started this, but there's so much going on with the Super Bowl. Wanted to bring up people who are like good luck charms or any like winning superstitions. I'm sure people have those of like, oh, like superstitions and sports go hand in hand. There's people who like, I wear the same underwear every time because we always win. Do you have any superstitions that surround sports?
I don't, but I'm this weird good luck charm when I'm not watching the game. I went home, so I'm a big English soccer fan.
Yeah,
and my
West Ham
United, and we have like a local supporters club. So anytime I go home for Christmas, like I go see the boys. There's this pub in DC, and when I went home this past Christmas, like last month, anytime I would leave, like to go outside and get some fresh air or something, our team would score. And after the second time that happened, I came back in and everybody was like, Nick, get the fuck out of here. So I was like, I didn't want to be this like superstitious person. I was like, hey, for the greater good of the team, I'm going to just leave.
Yeah, I definitely have that with the Dallas Stars, my hockey team. Whenever I'm not watching, they're doing great. When I'm start watching, they're just like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let's wrap up this episode with I have a rundown of Sports Illustrated ranked the top 10, it's actually top 12 Super Bowl appetizers. So I'll run down that and we can voice any like agreements or anything that we have in terms of that. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want me to do it backwards so we end with number 1? That's what I was thinking.
Let's do it.
All right. We're starting at number 12, crab dip.
I like it.
I've never had that at a Super Bowl party because I didn't grow up near Maryland. I feel like that's like a Maryland thing.
Yeah,
right?
I would say so Old Bay is like from, I think, the Baltimore area.
I remember, did we talk about this on the podcast? Like the story behind Old Bay? Maybe I just like got high and was reading about that. Anyway, continue.
Old Bay, if it wasn't started there, which I think it was, they definitely, that's like their thing. Old Bay is like Baltimore. It's synonymous with the city.
How's puberty going?
It's growing terribly. Voice is still cracking at 33. When we do an episode on like a Saturday,
hang on, Matt, my grandkids are here.
Yeah, we should do a bit where anytime my voice cracks, I got to take a shot or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Take one.
I'll be dead by the end of the night.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a better drinking game for those at home. Is every time one of us hits the microphone or Nick's voice cracks.
Yeah.
Okay, so at 11 we have potato skins. It's solid.
Not about it.
I just would never like pick that over anything else ever. I'm never like go to the bar, happy hour. Ooh, I want potato skins. The only time I've ever gotten them, be like, I wonder if these are any good here.
It seems it's like almost like an American delicacy.
What, potato skins?
Well, yeah, I mean, the only thing that you're eating is you're not enjoying the potato skin itself, at least not for me. I like the filling and the mashed potatoes, the cheese that goes into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's like a food that's trying to use something that's been left over from something else.
Yeah.
You know, like we have all these damn potato skins from mashed potatoes. I bet you that's how it was invented or something.
Do you think that there are some foods on this list where they're trying to like almost will it back into existence? Like, we still got to make this kind of this American thing, and it's just not good objectively. I'm sure we'll talk about it.
I don't know. So far I agree with this list as far as like neither of those being in the top 10. Number 10 is chili. How do you feel about chili being on this list?
Here's my thing about chili. I don't dislike it, but I feel like anytime it gets brought up as a suggestion to eat, I'm never in the mood to eat chili. It just always seems like an awful idea at the time.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that chili is I love chili. I'm probably going to make chili next week, which is ironically Super Bowl week, but not to eat at a Super Bowl. I think you kind of bias towards these foods that you can keep warm by just having them in the crock pot and people can sort of serve themselves. The thing I don't like about chili at a Super Bowl party or anything, I don't really like anything that's going to require me like having like silverware or a bowl or something.
Right.
You know? And chili is like, it's a whole setup. So I just wouldn't serve that at a Super Bowl party that I'm hosting. I love chili, but I think it's not for Super Bowls.
The best type of Super Bowl food is something that you can grab buffet style a little bit at a time and put it all onto a tiny little plate.
Yeah, totally. All right, let's move on from that. We got at number 9, we're getting closer to number 1. We got jalapeno poppers.
Yes.
Hell yeah. I think they're too low. I think people are sleeping on jalapeno poppers. I fucking love jalapeno poppers.
Yeah.
I love ranch.
Deep fried jalapenos with cheese in the center. Like,
yeah.
You don't like that, get fucked.
Yeah. They're just, I never see them because they're hard to make at home. You need like a deep fryer to really do it right. You try to air fry them. It's just not the same, in my opinion.
Yeah.
At number 8, we have veggie platter.
Okay. I mean, you can go a lot of different ways with this, but I love veggie platters.
Yeah.
I love bell peppers and ranch. So there are just
I'd eat your sock with ranch on it, dude. I love ranch.
There are just certain vegetables that I probably wouldn't eat just raw without any sort of like condiments or anything that I will absolutely eat during like a Super Bowl or Thanksgiving or Christmas environment. And there's like bell peppers, sugar snap peas, and ranch. Gimme.
Yeah, I think you have to have a veggie platter. Like you might have vegetarians. You need an alternative. You already have the ranch out for other things. You'll see when you see what's ranked number 1, and it's obvious. But I think you got to do it. Like, there's no getting around it.
Veggies is unique because it's the one appetizer food that you'll eat as an appetizer. Then you have the main course, and then it's still that one food that you'll like eat after.
Still come back to it. It doesn't take up a lot of like stomach real estate, which I think is an important factor in Super Bowl stuff. It's like you can just eat, little carrot sticks and little tiny raw broccolis with ranch on it, like till the cows come home. You can do that all day long.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to move on to number 7. We have pigs in a blanket.
I wasn't in a family that did pigs in a blanket.
Yeah.
That wasn't really our thing.
I love them.
Take a shot.
I think cocktail weenies are delicious. It's basically just them and like a little puff pastry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had our own kind of hors d'oeuvre, if you will, for Super Bowl, Thanksgiving, Christmas kind of thing. And they were these little like sausage wontons. So you take wontons and you kind of make them look like this little origami cup.
Yeah.
And what you do is you take little Jimmy Dean ranch and cheese and you mix that up and then you put them in the little
the wonton cup.
In the wonton cup, and then you throw it in the oven. It's unbelievable. That is like that was our family thing.
That's that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, we'll make some for you one day.
So far this list seems pretty legit. I just don't think chili belongs on here, and putting jalapeno poppers at number 9 behind veggie platter and behind pigs in a blanket. I don't know.
Chili on that top 12 list is we're standing on ceremony, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just because chili's like a national institution that it's being forced upon us.
It's some sort of like
get off the list
related thing. I don't know. Yeah, get off the list. Okay. And I'm saying this as a chili lover. I'm from Texas, for fuck's sake. Number 6, pizza.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, I think that's easy. I probably would eat a lot of pizza, although I rarely see it at Super Bowl stuff because people are always making something. But yeah, ordering some pizzas and just having that there, great.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting thing. It's like, do you drive to your family's house on the holiday because you think there's less traffic? I think that's the same thing with pizza. I think that people probably stopped ordering it as much because everybody's ordering pizza on or wings,
right?
Which I'm sure is probably on the list, but yeah. So
yeah, I think I'm usually the guy that like just like chills on the veggie platter or the wings for most of the day, and then like around like into the third quarter I'm going and grabbing that slice of like cheese pizza because like the one with like the special toppings is already like that was a good one. Everybody took that, and I'm just like eating my little cold cheese pizza.
Yep.
In the fourth quarter.
100%. Yeah, pizza, easy one.
Number 5, we're getting near the top 10. Sliders.
Yeah, I think that that one I'm so glad that there is somebody willing to put that much effort into making sliders for me, and I will gladly consume it, but I will never work that hard for that kind of appetizer.
I think it's not that hard. You just do like a crock pot thing, do some like pulled pork in there or something. I think I went to your place one time and your roommate, I forget his name, who was like the manager of a restaurant, made that exact thing.
Oh, really?
Like pulled pork with like King's Hawaiian rolls to make sliders out of or something.
Oh, Josh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out Josh. Those are good.
Shout out Josh.
I'm not a huge sliders at a Super Bowl party guy because of the stomach real estate issue. I mean, if you have one, cool, but it's still like fairly substantial. If you have 2, like you might even be like kind of full because the whole time you're already eating like chips and that veggie platter and drinking a lot of beer probably.
Yeah. We started this tradition on Super Bowl Sunday. Josh would do something called high-low. So my old roommate Josh is a sommelier. So he just knows everything about wine. And there's this whole concept of high-low where you drink a really high-end type alcohol with a really cheap type of food. So, and they usually pair well together. So one Super Bowl Sunday, we did champagne and fried chicken. Yeah. Which was incredible.
Yeah.
And then another day, it wasn't Super Bowl, but we did Merlot and Big Macs. Or no, it wasn't Merlot. It was Cabs. We did Cab and Big Macs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Does it work the other way around of like if you're eating like foie gras, like just having like a Bud Light?
Probably. Yeah.
Diet Coke and caviar.
I don't know, Josh. You can respond to the comments here whether that's true or not. You can do high-low the other way.
All right. So at number 4, we got buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah, very specific, but.
Yeah, I don't know. The major issue I have with this list is that is not the number 4 best thing. And they didn't put chips and queso on here, which is like our national food in Texas. And I think if you just said chips and dip or something, I don't know, maybe whatever.
I think that it's there are certain things on this list that probably miss the boat because it's a very like whatever your family's tradition was.
Yeah.
Is either it's going to click with you on here or it's not. Yeah. So for me, it wouldn't be buffalo chicken dip. It would be spinach dip.
Spinach dip, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's keep blowing through this list because 12 things is a fucking lot. Number 3, nachos.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Nachos.
Nachos are great.
I would prefer chips and queso because every nacho you get has stuff on it and is warm.
Here's my thing about nachos is it really shows what kind of person you are, or at least exposes your awareness of how good of a person you are. Because like you could go in for that really loaded nacho, but if people are around, there's a part of you that just wants to go for like the shittier one because you don't want to be that guy. That's at least me.
I think that's very like common that nobody wants to take the last jalapeno popper. Nobody wants to take the really good nacho. So what I'll do sometimes is if I notice that this is happening and that nobody's taking this one good nacho, as long as there's all good stuff still going, I'll take one of the best nachos and about like 4 or 5 of the like also ran naked chips that have like, they're just chips still, and I'll just like take that and put all of that onto my plate, and then I'll like have a little maybe like eat the bare chips with a little bit of the topping of the nacho until it is a regular nacho again, and be like, okay,
yeah,
I feel like I solved a problem or something.
Do you ever hear those like the stories like Kevin Durant when he got the MVP? I'm making a point here,
okay,
where like there were nights where like his mom didn't eat because she was like, I'd rather my kids eat than I'll go hungry. Right.
Yeah.
I feel like I had a very privileged experience of that where like if there was like the last burger or piece of steak, my parents would be like, Nick, you do it. Absolutely. Like go, like would not make me feel bad about it. In fact, they were like, we're absolutely not going to eat that last burger. Please do it. I feel like I grew up in that kind of environment where like if I know somebody wants that last one, like I make them feel so good about wanting to eat that last burger. I'm like, please, I am absolutely not going to eat that. You go for it.
Yeah, you have to, because it's just
going to go to waste, you know?
Hey, just take it and put it on their plate and be like, please eat it now.
Yeah.
Okay, we got number 2 and then we got number 1. Number 2 is chips and guac. Yeah,
great.
Fully agree.
But that can go. People are very specific about guac. I feel like it could be really good or really bad.
Yeah.
And I think, it could also just be like what your palate is. So there has been some really hyped up guac or whatever that I eat and I'm like, this sucks.
People just get really like, oh, I make such good guacamole. It's like, no, you don't, man. Your avocados do. You got to find good avocados. And if you don't, then the guacamole is going to suck. And miss me with all that, like, add in a little sour cream or Greek yogurt for creaminess. Fuck that.
I love
personally.
I do love a nice guac with some like mango chunks in there.
Damn it.
Kind of gets us back to that pineapple on pizza topic.
God damn it. Well, it's been real. This was a Sometimes We Eat podcast. The band is now breaking up.
Mango guac.
You know, it's like a traditional Mexican thing in some parts of Mexico to put pomegranate seeds in it.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. So maybe it's that kind of thing. They probably put mango in it in some parts of Mexico too.
Probably. Yeah. All right. What do we got? We're on to number 2 now.
We got number 1. That was number 2. And before, I'm going to say one notable thing that this missed entirely. Just chips. Like Doritos or fucking something. Just have some chips out.
That great call out. That's so overlooked.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. Maybe it's just, sorry, chips. You were forgotten in this list. Very overlooked. Maybe it's just something that people take for granted that because it's just there.
I guess.
You know?
Well, he said veggie platter.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 1 is wings.
Right. Are you drums or wing? Like, what different terms for it?
Flats
or drums.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I think it was like the cool move to like, I like the flats because they're like better and there's more meat on them. And I think I'm still that because it's like a cleaner bite. But lately, and at a Super Bowl party, I like the drums because it's like a little bit better of like, oh, Bupalo ranch. It's like a utensil. I can like, you know, like a little like wand or something. I can fucking make a point with it.
Yeah.
I can tell somebody something and really mean it. So, with the flat, what are you going to do? Be like, oh, cool, look, I can eat it in one bite. The trick is to detach the bone at the one end. Fuck you.
I dated this girl once where I stopped eating the drum wing as opposed to the flats for a while because she said that
when flats only.
No, she said that when I held like a drum wing in my hand, it like made me look childish.
Like a fucking tiny maraca or something.
Right. And then I was also vaping at the time, and she said that like when guys smoke vapes, it makes them look like they're like sucking on a pacifier. So for a while I stopped vaping and I only ordered flat wings.
Wow.
But now I'm like, in terms of the wings, I'm like drums all day.
Women make us do crazy stuff.
They do.
I think I'm totally kidding, by the way. I don't give a shit what people like flats or drums. It really doesn't make people get emotional about food.
They do.
I was just kidding about the fuck you thing. So don't write me any angry emails. I think like there's what's really getting missed here is that like you just look and there's some good wings and there's some ones that are like, oh, that one's like not great. They could be drums or flats. And I think like most of the time people are getting these wings like from a place, but if you're making them at home, like I don't know. I think it's hard to get it crispy on the outside, and so but then I end up just kind of not giving a shit because wings are just good regardless.
I'm one of the weirdos. I don't like wings with like wet sauce, if you will. Okay. I like a dry rub.
Yeah, because you like the crispy.
I like the crispy, and I like having something like a dry thing against ranch as opposed to just double wetness.
Double wet, yeah.
You
know. So we got about like 4.5 minutes left. The outcome's still in doubt as to whether the Detroit Lions or the San Francisco 49ers are going to go to the Super Bowl. But, you know, it's very likely it'll be 49ers and Chiefs. So that's my prediction. What is yours? For the prediction that will age about 15 minutes.
I think the two teams that nobody, unless you're a fan of the 49ers or the Chiefs, these are the two teams like nobody wanted in the Super Bowl.
It's just like,
granted, we're all being haters or whatever,
yeah.
But it just seemed like both the Ravens and the Lions had two really cool stories. And look, this game's super close, by the way. Mm-hmm. It's 27-24 Niners right now, but it looks like they're about to score again.
Ooh, that was painful. You forget how violent of a sport football is. Everybody just gets together to eat parts of the chicken that they used to throw away while we watch grown men beat the shit out of each other.
Mm-hmm. It comes back to the old gladiator days where like people were entertained by violence.
Yeah,
it's literally this, just more pacified, I guess.
Totally, dude.
In comparison to people actually killing each other.
Yeah.
Well,
they are. It just takes a while. CTE isn't instantaneous.
Yeah, like that.
Christian McCaffrey just went straight down onto the crown of his head. I'm sure that felt great on his neck and his brain. But anyway, on a brighter note, the Super Bowl, we need to have Monday off. Give us the Monday off. Mm-hmm. We can touch on any ads or any like Super Bowl halftime show stuff that stood out to us when we come back next week. But in band news, we just got back from the studio. Hopefully it was amazing. Recording your drums for our upcoming music. So
that's right.
In the middle of that, and we'll have more actual band stuff to throw in the mix here in a couple days.
Yeah. Today we're doing our last pre-production session. Once we wrap this up. So we'll be
today in real time.
Today, real time. By the time this gets released, we'll be done recording and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, today, in real life, we are take a shot. We are just getting the final pieces of the puzzle together. So
I didn't even hear your voice crack that time. Did it crack?
Really? Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time. Yeah.
I can't do it.
Hi.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for this. Please subscribe, like, leave us little comments of whatever you thought about Nick's voice cracking. Because we really give a fuck about everything anyone from the internet at all has to say, and we read it and we take it to heart, and it traumatizes us forever. So please go for it. Don't hold back. Anyway, happy Super Bowl week. Nick, you got anything else you want to add?
Nope. See ya.
Okay, bye.